8 true stories, each with one strange turn that changes everything. From cliffs and classrooms to radio, housing, and folklore, these are the facts that stick because they surprise you first and explain themselves second. One climber went up El Capitan alone and finished the nose in a single day. On a wall that huge, that is a rare sight. The nose is a famous big wall route on El Capitan. It demands long, sustained climbing across steep stone and exposed ledges. Miranda Oakley rope soloed it, meaning she climbed alone while managing the rope system herself. She kept moving until the route was done in less than 24 hours. That made her the first woman to rope solo the nose in a single day. The result was a climb measured not just by height, but by time and precision. Oakley is also an activist and co-founder of Climbers with Palestine. But on El Capitan, the clearest image is still one person, one rope, and a giant wall. Parliament approved this reservoir in 1877, but no builders arrived for more than 20 years. Ashworth Moor Reservoir sits in the Pennines of Greater Manchester, near Rochdale and Edenfield. It was planned to help supply Haywood and nearby districts. The key detail is simple: approval was not construction. Parliament passed the law in 1877, but work began only in the early 1900s. The reservoir entered operational use in 1907. After the long wait, water could then move into the regional supply system. Today the reservoir still sits in the hills as part of Greater Manchester's public water supply. Stone Embankment, open water, and moorland still hold the same quiet job. One casual on-air question about 2001, A Space Odyssey turned into a radio show that lasted 29 years. At WJNC in Jacksonville, North Carolina, the station was built for local voices and live conversation. A host asked nearby neighbors about 2001, A Space Odyssey, and that simple exchange grew into Ask Your Neighbor. The format stayed listener-driven, and the local program ran for 29 years on audience calls. In the end, one question, one microphone, and one dial kept a neighborhood conversation alive on the air. A church in Columbus, Indiana got a nickname from one strange exterior detail. People still call it the Zipper. This is the first Christian church at 531 5th Street. It was built in 1942 for a non-denominational congregation founded in 1855. Eliel Saarinen designed the building, and Eero Saarinen with Charles Eames oversaw some details. In 1942, its modern forms were rare for a church. That made it one of the first contemporary-style churches in the United States. Columbus also marked it as the city's first modern-style building. Today it carries National Historic Landmark status, and the clean facade still holds that memorable detail: a church, a landmark, and one sharp line in Columbus. Church groups and a parent-teacher association helped sponsor a Manhattan apartment complex. That is an unexpected name list for a housing project. The complex is East Midtown Plaza in Kips Bay. It was built under the Mitchell-Lama housing program for middle-income housing. The odd part is the sponsor mix. Religious groups and a parent-teacher association joined a program that could gather unusual backers for one project. East Midtown Plaza grew into 6 buildings in 746 units. Construction happened in 2 phases from 1968 through 1974, with the first stage opening in 1972. The result is nearly 2 city blocks of housing between 1st and 2nd Avenues and East 23rd and 25th Streets. In Manhattan, a sponsor list can shape whole apartment blocks. A festival can be over in 15 seconds. That is shorter than a single breath of applause. This is the Henry I. Onadachi Memorial Festival. It is a memorial festival, not a long public celebration. Its meaning comes from the ritual form itself. The ceremony is compressed, so every movement carries the weight of tradition. In that tiny window, the festival becomes a focused act of remembrance. The short timing makes the gesture feel deliberate and exact. A few seconds, one bell, one bow, and the memorial is complete. What remains is the still air around the altar. A counting song like Yo Tenía Días Perdidos was once treated like a healing chant. That is an odd place for a playful rhyme. In folk practice, some songs were not just for children or games. People also linked repeated verses to curing illness. The idea was repetition. A steady rhythm and the same words again and again could give a chant its ritual force. So a song such as Yo Tenía Días Perdidos could carry a healing meaning, not as medicine, but as a spoken ritual. The counting itself mattered. A childlike count and a serious belief met in the same voice. Around a wooden bowl and drum, words could feel powerful. Colleen McCullough called the TV version of her own novel Instant Vomit. She was reacting to the screen adaptation of her best-known novel, where page and picture can feel worlds apart. That kind of blunt reaction is rare, because many authors accept changes when a story moves from print to television. Her words turned the adaptation into a public clash between a book's voice and its screen version. So one sharp quote became part of the book-to-screen story, with the novel still sitting on the shelf beside the television. If one of these facts changed how you see the world, the full anthology is worth watching through. Subscribe for more clear, curious stories, and tell us which one surprised you most.